guys, it's Tori here, and so for today's video, I'm gonna take you through my top 10 favorite albums of 2016 because believe it or not, the year is coming to an end. Every YouTuber kind of says this when they get into their monthly videos, but like, where did time go? It's insane. I can't believe the year is already almost over. So anyway, I'm gonna give you my top 10 favorite albums of the year, and they are in no specific order because honestly, it was hard enough for me to narrow down my list to just 10 albums, so to put them in order would just be a whole nother ordeal. So without further ado, let's get into it. So my first choice is the 1975 I Like It When You Sleep, For You Are So Beautiful Yet So Unaware of It. And if any of you follow me on social media, then this comes as no surprise to you guys, and I know that this album title is so incredibly pretentious, but I feel like when your album is as good as this one, you can get away with it. You have earned the right to name your album such a name. But yeah, I just think this is a fantastic album. I was a fan of the 1975 when they released their first release, their self-titled album, and this is like a reinvention of them, but at the same time, it's everything you know and love from the 1975. So my standout track from this album, the one that I cannot skip anytime it ever comes on shuffle, is This Must Be My Dream. So my next pick here is Emarosa 131. I just absolutely love this album. I think the guys in Emarosa are so fantastic, so I'm always more than thrilled to support them. So 131 is an absolute favorite. And actually, in honor of my favorite song in this album, I kind of did this on purpose. My favorite track on there is Blue, so I did Blue Eyeshadow today, just for Emarosa. And so my number 3 pick is Blush by Moose Blood, and there's something about their music, I felt this with their first album and now with Blush as well, that even though these are new releases and new music for me, I somehow feel so nostalgic. Like there's something about the emotion or the vibe of their music that I don't know, I feel like I'm going back in time and I start reminiscing on things, and it's just like, Moose Blood has a weird way of messing with my emotions, you know what I mean? So my favorite song on this album, the standout track, is Sulk. And number 4 on my list is Smile by Cane Hill, and this album is so intense and so heavy and just in your face. I know a lot of people say that they kind of have a new metal vibe, which even though I can see it, I can tell they also have a lot more influences. For me, my favorite song in this album is Strange Candy, which I know had a lot of Alice in Chains influence, so if you're into that kind of thing, definitely check out that song. But I feel like this is an album where even though it's heavy, there's definitely something for everybody if you're into rock and metal music in general, so it's a definite pick that I think everybody needs to check out. And now, I'm about to get so heated about my next pick. Number 5 is A Day to Remember, Bad Vibrations. And so let me just clarify this right now. I know what some of you are thinking, A Day to Remember always sound the same. Every single album sounds the same, every single song sounds the same, and I agree. But the thing is, their sound is so good and they have just perfected what they do that I don't even care like how many songs they release that all sound very similar. I absolutely love it. And Bad Vibrations reminds me so much of earlier A Day to Remember, and every single song is so insanely catchy that even if I don't feel like listening to it, it's so ingrained in my head that I have to listen to this album constantly. And my favorite song on there is Same About You. So next on my list, number 6 is Let Live If I'm the Devil, and this is a band that has just always had my heart since the first time I heard their first album, Fake History, up until now. They are one of my favorites, if not my all-time favorite band. And If I'm the Devil is just another incredible work of art from this band. So if you haven't listened to this band before or you haven't heard this album yet, please make sure you do. The lyrics on this album are brilliant, and I feel like because they're such a politically driven band, a lot of these lyrics do have a lot of relevance considering everything that has recently happened with the election. So, you know, take a listen to Let Live. You never know, you might love it as much as I do. And my favorite song on this album is A Week Ago. If you're looking for something to groove to, that's the one. And number 7 on my list is a band that I actually was not expecting to have on my list because they're a band that has been around for a really long time that I personally hadn't listened to up until this album came out, but it's Balance and Composure, Light We Made. But this is such like a vibey album and I ended up loving it. It's very different from a lot of the stuff I normally listen to and actually very different from anything else Balance and Composure has ever done before. My favorite song on here is For a Walk. Number 8 on my list is good old Pierce the Veil Misadventures, and I feel like they're a band that I just trust to always release good music at this point. They've been so consistent over the years, and you know, I was putting a lot of pressure on them because Collide with the Sky was one of my absolute favorite albums when it first came out, and to this day I still absolutely love it. And to me, I always wondered how they were gonna top it, and I don't know if they necessarily did, but I can say I do love Misadventures just about as much as I loved Collide with the Sky. It has been on repeat for me since it came out, and I can always count on Pierce the Veil to release something good. They're good old Mexicore, if you will. And to me, the standout track on this album is Today I Saw the Whole World. And next up is Crown the Empire Retrograde. It's not my favorite album of the year, but it's one that has some really solid tracks to the point where I could not leave it off. And this album is also a bit of a departure from what everyone knew from Crown the Empire before this, which were really elaborate narratives and concept albums. They had The Fallout, which was very like post-apocalyptic, and also Rise of the Runaways, which was good versus evil in the same sort of world. And then Retrograde comes along and there's no huge plot line around it, which to me is so refreshing. There are some songs that I don't think are so great, where the lyrics are a little bit cheesy, like Oxygen. I'm sorry, I can't do it with that song. But there are some really strong tracks on there. One of my favorites, which I have actually had on repeat for the last week right now, is Weight of the World. If their concept albums weren't necessarily your thing, you might actually like this one a whole lot. And the last one on my list is a little bit of a cheat. I don't think it necessarily is, but I know it's an EP. So it's a Stranger EP by Creeper, and this band is so brilliant, and this release is so brilliant that even though it is not a full-length album, I had to include it. I think everybody needs to know Creeper. They are an absolutely fantastic band. If you're looking for something emo, but also something punk, they are amazing, and my standout track from this EP is Misery. So make sure you check out Creeper. They are gonna be huge. I'm calling it now, and all of you will be able to say you knew them when. And so those are my top 10 albums of the year, but I also wanna give a few honorable mentions because those are not all of my favorites and I don't wanna leave anybody out. So I also really enjoyed, I have a list right here so I don't forget, Every Time I Die, The Pretty Reckless, Chevelle, Architect, Set It Off, and Water Parks. Those are other bands this year that released amazing albums that I really needed to give a shout out to, and I thoroughly enjoyed them as well. And so yeah, that is it for my list of top 10 favorite albums of the year. Make sure you guys comment below and let me know your favorites as well. I would love to know. Maybe I'll find out some new bands, check out some new music. That's what this is all about, just spreading the word about our favorite music so we can all help each other out. So thank you for hanging out. Make sure you subscribe for more videos, and I will catch you next time. Bye guys!